Hey guys, so Konstantin Kisin announced his pro-Israel stance as well as the reasons why he was pro-Israel a while back. And then Dave Rubin, sorry, not Dave Rubin, Dave Smith, the bastard that he is, responded. He said, oh, this is all wrong, and he tried to debunk him, right? And then Konstantin responded to him. And in this video, he completely breaks down Dave Smith's argument and why a lot of people in the West support Hamas and Palestine as opposed to supporting Israel.
Outlining my stance on Israel's war has been read more than any other that I've published on my Substack. The video based on that article has been watched more than 10 million times across various platforms. The reason it resonated, I believe, is that it was widely shared by people who felt it summarized their thoughts on the conflict. However, no piece of content reaching millions of people is ever likely to go uncriticized, especially on a controversial subject like this one. The article appears to have stirred into action comedian and commentator Dave Smith, who's most known for his libertarian and anti-war views. We've crossed swords before when we debated the issue of Ukraine. I like Konstantin and I think he's a bright guy who hosts very interesting and thoughtful conversations. He just gets this issue all wrong, Dave said when posting his response to the video. Before we begin, I want to say that I like Dave too. We have different views on many things, but having debated with him, I would say that he's smart and good at breaking down complex issues, even if I often don't agree with his conclusions. The fact that he's intelligent and able to debate ideas without descending into name-calling and bad faith arguments is a huge asset, and the reason I'm responding. The other reason is that given Dave is intelligent, I actually can't believe some of the arguments he made. He starts by claiming that I said I was arguing from first principles, but was in fact just making comparisons. He defines first principles as your foundational views that aren't derived from anything else, but that you derive the rest of your arguments from. He claims I didn't explain what my first principles were. What he appears to have missed is that I spent the entire first section of the video explaining that at the heart of the debate about Israel's war is the attack on October 7th. What you think of Israel's actions is derived from what you think of October 7th and what it was. For example, if your foundational view is that it was a terrorist attack, then the rest of your arguments naturally derive from that. If, say, your foundational view is that governments have a right and responsibility to eliminate terrorists, degrade their ability to commit further acts of terrorism, and rescue hostages from their dungeons, the rest of your arguments will derive from that. How Dave missed this obvious point was initially beyond me, or when he proceeded to the next argument, my confusion abated somewhat. He explains that I was wrong to make a per capita comparison of October 7th to 9/11. If you recall, I argued that given that Israel has a population of just 9 million people, having 1,200 of them killed, hundreds more dragged off to Gaza against their will, and thousands wounded, was comparable to a much greater number of people being killed in a country of 300 million people like the US. He calls this view bizarre, before saying that my comparison is like saying you have two families, one with 4 kids, another with 2. If you kill one of their kids, it's basically the same. The problem here is that Dave has deliberately changed the maths. Imagine you had a family with 12 kids and a family with 1. Yes, the act of killing one child from each family is the same moral evil, but the impact is completely different. But this isn't the real giveaway. The reason Dave fails to understand the first principles from which I'm arguing is that his own get in the way. At the core of his argument is the idea that all people think the same. We'll see more of this later. This becomes very clear when he says that
if you're going to use this argument, which I'm saying flat out I reject, but then why doesn't the same argument apply to the Palestinians?
This is further clarified when his co-host explains,
yeah, there's something inhumane about the proportions of death talk, which is what they keep trying to spin as the arguments with the amount of civilians that are killed to soldier ratios.
Note how the argument has suddenly been twisted. We were debating whether a terrorist attack is more impactful in a smaller country than a bigger one. Now, we're rejecting the very concept of war itself. It's inhumane to analyze the ratio of combatants to civilians killed. By this logic, if Israel only killed Hamas fighters, they would still be committing genocide because it's inhumane to differentiate between the deaths of rapist jihadis and those of innocent civilians. What? But since they've asked, the reason the same argument does not apply to Palestinians is encapsulated in the term casus belli. Defined as an act or situation that provokes or justifies a war, The term has been with us for centuries because people have long recognized that, sad as war is, it is sometimes the right response. In fact, if you had to get people to agree on the circumstances which might trigger a just war, a cross-border raid in which 1,000 people are killed and hundreds taken hostage would be close to top of the list. The purpose of Israel's Gaza operation is to eliminate the terrorists who attacked them, recover the hostages they took, and make sure Hamas can't carry out their threat of repeating October 7 as many times as possible. The purpose of October 7, on the other hand, was to kill, maim, rape, and torture civilians. That's the difference. Next, Dave challenges my claim that most countries are created through the displacement of the native population. For example, I asked, would the US tolerate missile strikes and terrorist rampages from Native American reservations? We wouldn't just start bombing, he says, outraged by the mere suggestion.
So you know what would happen next? The fucking police go in and they try to find the people who did it.
This, I'm afraid, is where he lost me. Hamas, the elected government of Gaza, orchestrated October 7th using its army of 25,000 fighters who have multiple rocket launch systems, heat-seeking surface-to-air missiles, Shahab suicide drones, anti-tank mines, Cornet laser-guided anti-tank missiles, RPGs, 50 caliber sniper rifles, automatic weapons, grenades, IEDs and booby traps. And Israel should deal with that by sending cops. Having got this far into the 83-minute video, I gave up. Again, let me repeat, I do think Dave is smart. Some of the arguments he makes are logically sound. The problem is that he starts from bad priors, as he explains in this clip.
We're all kind of the same when it comes to this. Like after 9/11, we got hit and some innocent people got killed. And we went, you know what? You hit us, we're going to go get you. Like if you do that to us, we're going to, you think you could just kill us? We're going to go kill a whole bunch of you. And then you kind of realize it's like, yeah, that's exactly how those people who flew the buildings into the towers felt. Exactly the same way you feel right now.
This is a cognitive error called mirror image bias, well known to analysts who study other cultures. They spend years training precisely to understand that not all people are the same, nor do they act for the same reasons. As it happens, jihadis like bin Laden have been telling us why they attack us for years. We just don't listen because what they say makes us very uncomfortable. Between 2014 and 2016,
What he says right here is absolute brilliance, and you have to pay attention.
ISIS published a monthly magazine called Dabiq. Issue 15 includes a short article entitled Why We Hate You and Why We Fight You. I have summarized it for brevity here, but the entire article titled Why They Hate Us is available on my Substack. Here's what they say. 1. We hate you first and foremost because you are disbelievers. You reject the oneness of Allah. Furthermore, just as your disbelief is the primary reason we hate you and fight you, as we have been commanded to fight the disbelievers until they submit to the authority of Islam, either by becoming Muslims or by paying jizya and living in humiliation under the rule of Muslims, even if you were to stop fighting us, your best case scenario would be that we would suspend our attacks against you in order to focus on the closer and more immediate threats, before eventually resuming our campaigns against you. You cannot halt our war against you. At most, you could only delay it temporarily. 2. We hate you because your secular liberal societies permit the very things that Allah has prohibited while banning many of the things He has permitted. Your secular liberalism has led you to tolerate and even support gay rights, to allow alcohol, drugs, fornication, gambling, and usury to become widespread, and to encourage the people to mock those who denounce these filthy sins and vices. As such, we wage war against you to stop you from spreading your disbelief and debauchery, your secularism and nationalism, your perverted liberal values, your Christianity and atheism, and all the depravity and corruption they entail. 3. In the case of the atheist fringe, we hate you and wage war against you because you disbelieve in the existence of your Lord and Creator. 4. We hate you for your crimes against Islam and wage war against you to punish you for your transgressions against our religion. As long as your subjects continue to mock our faith, insult the prophets of Allah, burn the Quran, and openly vilify the laws of the Sharia, we will continue to retaliate not with slogans and placards, but with bullets and knives. 5. We hate you for your crimes against the Muslims. Your drones and fighter jets bomb, kill, and maim our people around the world, and your puppets in the usurped lands of the Muslims oppress, torture, and wage war against anyone who calls to the truth. 6. We hate you for invading our lands and fight you to repel you and drive you out. As long as there is an inch of territory left for us to reclaim, jihad will continue to be a personal obligation on every single Muslim. Now, I know what you're thinking. See, Konstantin, Dave was right all along. The people who flew the planes into the towers, ISIS, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the rest, are just rightly upset at the West for its foreign policy and at Israel for its occupation. That's what they just said. There's only one problem with this. ISIS knew you'd say that, so they added this bit at the end just for you. What's important to understand here is that although some might argue that your foreign policies are what drives our hatred, they're talking about you, Dave, this particular reason for hating you is secondary, hence the reason we addressed it at the end. Even if you were to stop bombing us, we would continue to hate you because our primary reason for hating you will not cease to exist until you embrace Islam. Even if you were to pay jizya and live under the authority of Islam in humiliation, we would continue to hate you. What's equally, if not more important to understand, is that we fight you not simply to punish and deter you, but to bring you true freedom and salvation. We fight you in order to bring you out from the darkness and disbelief and into the light of Islam. If you enjoy these videos, remember that they're available on my Substack as articles.
All right, so that was Konstantin Kisin's complete debunk of Dave Rubin there. And there's only one thing that I disagree with Konstantin here, and that is that Dave Rubin is a high intellectual individual, and he's someone that, we should all be, engaging in debate with good faith. This is the same man that says that, the only reason that the Russian-Ukrainian war is happening right now is because of NATO. If NATO wouldn't have gone more further eastward and towards Russia's border, Russia would never attack. Yeah, because Russia said so. Russia said so itself. You can't take bad guys at their words. And so when Hamas tells you A, you have to assume B. When Russia tells you A, you have to assume B. And you definitely shouldn't take them at face value. So if they say, oh, yeah, the only reason we're attacking you is because of this, really, you should understand that maybe they're attacking you for a different reason. Oh, the only reason we're attacking you is because of the occupation. We want to end the occupation. No, that's what they want the Westerners to believe. In reality, the reason why they hate you is because of Islam, is because of the fact that you are disbelievers, and is because it is an Islamic land. Israel is an Islamic land that they claim, and they need to reclaim it back now that Israel and the Jews took it over. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. Thank you, and have a good one.